Thank you for joining us in our exciting episode of how we pivoted not once, but twice from fresh basil to dry basil, and from dry basil to something completely different that we didn't expect to do, but it was on our plan. So stay tuned and we'll reveal what we did. I will take you through a journey of our basil farming. We were excited to do this venture with basil, and as we looked around in the area where we are in Baolala, and as you know, Baolala is 42 kilometers from Malindi. Towards it's the same road that goes towards Tsavo National Park, so 42 kilometers from Malindi going towards Tsavo. So we didn't see any farmers in the coastal region in that area that was doing basil, and I guess now we found out why, because basil is a very sensitive herb, very sensitive plant, and is susceptible to heat, susceptible to cold, and it's you have to take very good care of it, and it has to meet the standards from the time that you harvest to the time that you take it in for export and for quality control and for inspections, right? So as you saw from our first video, that was the beginning of that journey of harvesting. It was our first harvest. We were so excited. I had to bring an expert in basil to come and teach one of our, teach all our staff, on how to harvest basil. So there was some delays. We were hoping to finish this harvesting of the basil in about 3 hours. So we started at 5. We wanted to finish by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock there. But our limit was at 9 is when I told my staff, you need to finish by 9 because we need to give a buffer of 1 hour, to put everything in the cold truck and then transport it. And mind you, from our farm all the way to JKIA, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, that's where we had to transport our fresh basil from our farm 8 hours away to the airport. That's when it's going to be received by the quality control. That's where they do the grading. Also, that's where all the farmers bring their produce, and then it gets shipped to either Middle East or to Europe or things like that, depending on what the order is. So I was hoping that we finish by 9 so that the driver will not have exactly 8 hours. So it has like 9 hours in case in that 1 hour buffer, if they want to use the restroom or they want to stop by, stretch their legs, or something, happens, they have that time, So we had a plan in mind, actually it was in theory, just had that plan, And we did not achieve that because since the staff was new and our trainer was training them, it took a little longer than we expected. So instead of taking 3 hours, it took they started at 5 and then they finished at close to midnight. We had lights on, I even had a plan where I brought an electrician to come and install lights inside the greenhouse. So when they harvest, they don't have any issues, because I didn't want to go wrong. Not on my first harvest. I didn't want anything to go wrong. So I took all the measures that I thought I took. But sometimes you can't control all the circumstances, So the greenhouse was lit by lights everywhere, floodlights, everything is good. As you see in the video, the lights were everywhere. So they were harvesting, but because it was their first time, to harvest, and they had to put rubber bands on the basil and put it in crates and take. After every crate is full, they have to go drop it off in the cold truck and come back, things like that. So that was our first mistake, right? Not mistake. It was just a circumstance that happened. We couldn't speed up the process of learning for these workers. So when that happened. Everything, we finished the harvest in 7 hours, which was beyond the time. And then the cold truck guy was another mistake we did was we asked the guy, hey, can you transport basil from our farm all the way to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? That's where it's going to be delivered. Said yes. He was actually a florist, cold truck driver. So he had this truck, had a refrigeration in the back, but he set the wrong temperature, because in his experience, when you transport flowers, is totally different than when you transport basil. So that's something we did not know. It's the first time. But the guy also didn't know. He thought flowers and basil is same temperature, but it's wrong, because he actually uses 7 degrees Celsius inside the truck to cool the flowers, and then use the same temperature. But we come to find out after failure, we had to do research to see, go back to the drawing board and see where did we make mistakes, where did we go wrong. So when I went on the drawing board to see what happened, why did we get freezer burn on our basil at the end of the journey, I came to realize that the right temperature is between 10 to 14 degrees Celsius. That's the sweet spot right there. But he set it too cold. So on top of the delays in harvest, and then there was also another delay on the road. So when they started traveling from Baolala towards Nairobi to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, when they hit Voi, there was a 4-hour jam. The cars did not move for a complete 4 hours. So by the time they reached the airport, it took them about 16 hours. Instead of 8 hours, it took 16 hours. What does that mean? Also, the basil in the back was being pounded and pounded by the cold temperature, colder than what it needs to be, for 16 hours, And then when they reached there, they found out the basil had freezer burns and they had withered. They looked kind of like old and all these things. When they left the farm, they were green with vigor and they look healthy and they look luscious, they look very good quality. And then by the time they got there, they were all beat up and it was quite a mess. And also the cold truck is expensive, to get a truck, from our farm to there. It costs 70,000 Kenya shillings just to transport the basil. So it was quite a devastating loss. So when that happened, we had to think again. We said, okay, I don't want to give up just because of our first mistake. I said, let me do this. Let me try again. But this time I'm gonna cross the T's, dot the I's, check everything, figure out where we went wrong, cut the harvest time, and make sure that the transport, the truck driver goes as quickly as possible to the destination. So the second harvest, we were ready. We planned. We practiced, we exercised this, we removed every complications of every issues. And then 1 week before the day of transportation, we were told that the order from UK, I think Middle East or UK, was no longer needed. So there was no order. They had shut down the export for all the farmers that were bringing the produce. I mean the basil, dried basil to the airport. It was so devastating. I was like, wow, we were so ready. Our basil had regrown, and then we were ready to harvest. We bought our own crates. We were ready for it. You know, the workers are ready and well trained. The greenhouse, the lights, electrician are seen, make sure everything is good. And then we get this news that they don't need the order anymore. So I said, I don't believe in waste. So let's pivot. Let's decide to harvest. And once we harvest, we're going to dry. We're going to dry the basil. And that's what we did. We harvested 3 times. It was 3 harvests, because we harvest every other week. So we did every other week while waiting for the order from Europe. But I guess at that time it was the market has come to a standstill. There was the demand was not there anymore, and things like that. So I said, we tried our best. This is not failure. We just realized that this is not the crop that we want to deal with. Also calculating the cost of transportation, cost of labor, and getting it over there, and then the amount of money that we get minus all the expenses was not quite at par with what my expectation was. So we decided, we tried the basil, and we've realized that at this time it will not work, and we decided to scratch basil. We uprooted all the basil. We redid the beds, and now we have decided that we will now be doing capsicum. And capsicum is what we're planning to do: red capsicum and yellow capsicum. For those of you who don't know what capsicum is some of you call them red bell peppers, right? The bell peppers in the States, we call it the red bell peppers. In Kenya, we call it pilipili hoho. Pilipili hoho, the red one and the yellow one. The red one and the yellow one can only be grown in greenhouses, not outside. The outside bell peppers, the green one, can be grown on the outside, but the yellow one and the red one, you cannot grow that outside, because what happens is you may have a cross-pollination between the red and the yellow, and then you find your pilipili hoho, they call it, or the bell pepper has many colors or something like that. That's why when you grow the yellow peppers, you grow them alone, and the red peppers, you grow them alone as well, so you don't have that cross-pollination, and they're also sensitive. The other ones are, you can grow them outside and things like that. So that is our next venture. Right now we have them in trays. We have propagated them in our nursery. Good thing now we have our nursery. And also we have our dryer, solar dryer. That's where we dried our basil. So we've collected about 100 kg bags of dry basil that we're still working on the market, but we have fresh ones. When I went to Kenya, I traveled over there. I brought some with me, and the aroma is so sweet. I smell that basil. It smells so good. So if you need basil, dry basil, hit me up. Let me know. We can connect you with that. We have a lot of dry basil, but right now we decided to do yellow and red capsicum, and we're gonna put those ropes on the top, so we support those plants so that they are nice and supported and healthy. So that is our story of how we pivoted from fresh basil to dry basil. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next fantastic videos that are coming up on our other projects.